Okay, guys, I just recorded this whole thing, and then I went to upload it, and it told me the file was correct. So I might do 2 videos in case I'm having it here. Okay, so back to this. Looking at what happens if this number from 0. Now, if it was always, because if it's always 0, and if I say, all right, now it's at 5. Well, that would be, but what's going to happen now? We don't necessarily was when it started. Here. And this was like it's the starting point, and then it's 5 to the right. So now it's at 2. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at when we change this lower limit right here. Okay, so remember that we said that what you have to do is that this number always has to be smaller than this number. So I have to flip it around, and I have to make this negative, and just kind of go with that for right now, and just know that as we keep on going, it's going to make it more sense, and it might even make more sense today when we're done. Okay, so what I do is I look at the area from 0 to 3. Okay, well that's 3 times 3 is 9, half of 9, that's 4.5. But it's going to be a negative 4.5 because I have that negative right there. Okay? Now again, I want you to be thinking about this 3 right here. It's like, that's like our starting spot, and we had to go to the left, 4.5. Okay? Now, we said, well, what if we make the next one at 1? And then we said, okay, we're going from 3 to 1, but we can't do that. So we're going to have to go from 1 to 3, and then take the opposite of that. Okay, so from 1 to 3, right in there, this little trapezoid. And I already figured out that area 4.5. Excuse me, 0.5. Let me say this better. Is 4. Because area is. Okay, I'm going to ignore that. Okay, let's look what happens when I put a 4. Now again, remember we said this was 0 right here. Remember, if those are 3, and that little distance right in there is 3.5. That you could go from 0. Yeah, it's just an important little spot. Okay, 6, and that is going to be 7. 8. So we see that we're okay drawn out. And then at 3 to 10, it's going to be 1.5. It's the same. We had some negative values that we had to take into account. Okay. So this is at negative 4.5. Okay, and then I already graphed this because I already did it in one video. Okay, and then here is what those two graphs look like. So hopefully you're noticing that they're exactly the same. That the area underneath them is technically exactly the same. Now you're thinking, well, no, it's not, because this one's underneath the axis, and you said that has to be 0. Okay, I guess I shouldn't have said the area underneath them. The function is exactly the same. This is just a shift, okay? And these things are going to shift up and down. And so we have to take into account, well, how do we know if this was 0 or this was 0? How are we going to know that? So we have a thing called an initial value that we're going to take into account. Okay, before we do the initial value, though, I want you to copy down these notes right here. And you're probably going to have to take a screenshot. But these are just things that they really are not formalized until the next section. So I want you just to kind of go with it for right now. Okay, so I'm going to stop this video to make sure it's not corrupt, and then I have one little thing that I have to do.